Hello, I'm still Lastigis, Head of Gen AI Enablement at Solita, and still co-hosting this AI transformation track at the summit. And I'm here with John Tuckman from the Gen AI Studio, and we're here to make a really exciting announcement. Before we get to the announcement, John, do you want to introduce yourself? What do you do at Solita?
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Jon Takman. I lead the generative AI lab at Solita. And for the last year or so, me and the team have been working on an LLM platform that we internally call Solitaire.
And the announcement we're making today is the Solitaire platform, or now we call it Solita FunctionAI, and it is released to our customers. Let's take this from the top. John, what is Solita FunctionAI?
So, as we started off with, it's an LLM platform. We call it a platform because it's not just one LLM, and it's also not just a chat, though it does have that. It's modular. We can expand its capabilities just by plugging in new data sources or new patterns or tools. It's secure. We are in control of our own data, and we can choose on how to secure it depending on the use case or by the users.
And it's safe to say we originally built Solita FunctionAI for our own purposes. So we built it for ourselves. And as we mentioned, we internally have a different name for it. The reasons we built it is we wanted something that is secure, that we host in our own environment. We wanted something that accelerates our customer solutions, so sharing best practices across teams that work on various AI deployments. We wanted something that accelerates our own work, of course. We needed to learn, so the reason we build is to learn while we build. And also, we're achieving some economies of scale. So instead of buying a number of various licenses to all of our consultants, Solita FunctionAI enables us to scale economically too.
Yeah, and those are then also basically our value propositions at the same time. When things started to look like we have a working platform, we then decided that this was probably the same for our customers as well. So the same props work there as for us. So why not then go ahead?
So let's talk about the typical use cases for a platform like this. What are they?
So there's a lot, but to begin with, of course, there's the basic chat interface with a model selector, file uploads, all those basic things. So basically, the generic AI chat. But the very most important thing here is this one is secure. So if you are otherwise unable to upload, for example, your materials to an external service, here you can use it. So you are in control of the data and it's secure. And you can then basically do what you couldn't do before. Additionally, the Function AI has this concept of plugins. So we enable different kind of functions, workflows, processes for different use cases to be hooked in easily. This, for example, for us, started with sales support, internal documentation, project management, IT functions, HR support, and so on. There's a lot.
And this concept of plugins is really important for us. It enables the whole functional support, and I guess now we know where the name comes from too. So the concept of plugins, this could be anything for us. You mentioned within HR, but also we're working on it with cases like supporting our people leads with development conversations. Also answering questions about company policies or about IT policies. And it could, in general, help with any kind of specific workflows or business processes or functional processes that we have.
Yeah. This is part of the modularity of the platform. So we can basically have a simple RAG solution or many other sophisticated agentic workflows, all packaged in these plugins. We also architected this in such a way that everyone can participate. We don't need to have like the specific AI team to do this. And obviously, users will only have access to the things that they should have access to. So if a user has access to a document in their main systems, they will also have that in our system, but no others. We employ role-based access management in the whole context flow, and we've really put a lot of thought into how to secure AI agentic flows. It's a little different working with AI agentic systems, but it's still very much like traditional software engineering, and all of the same security principles apply.
And we're obviously consultants too, so then we're always asked, okay, so what is the value, or how do we measure the value of this? Because of the modularity, I think it's safe to say that Solita FunctionAI provides value in multiple different ways, just like it is very modular. So it could be time to answer, or it could be time to deployment, but there could also be other metrics that aren't purely productivity. It could be like being able to do things that previously were impossible to do or were too cumbersome to do with existing means. So the way we measure the value of something like Solita Function AI is as modular as the platform itself, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the usual productivity KPIs would then be something like direct metrics, counts, so on. But we see this fitting directly into the context of the business processes and functions. So that means that the same KPI should basically then apply to us as well. So shouldn't really measure it through pure numbers, but more about the things that you can do or can do better or more extensively.
Right. So we talked not quite a lot about what Solita Function AI is and how it works. Let's look behind the scenes about some of the design and architecture principles for building the platform. Do you want to walk through the main sort of guiding principles that you've had for the team?
Yeah. So the first one, we already mentioned this, like the data needs to be secure. When you self-host the solution that you use, you have quite a different full control of who gets to see what data, what's saved, and so on. There's basically no black box at all. This also lets us build the solution to be flexible in scale. We can do it so that it's basically in a way that regulated businesses as well can benefit from. You can have it from anything from an air-gapped laptop to a hyperscaled deployment. So anything between one and, I mean, thousands of users. And that gives you the flexibility to then harness the data that you have to use in a way that's safe and secure. The second one is modularity. The whole platform is built around the concept of proper MCP and API management. The backend can also handle a graphical UI, like the one that we have in the beginning, the normal chat UI. But as well as that, we can also do direct integration between other business tools. Other data sources can also be quite trivially added, especially if they are packaged as MCP servers. And we've created what we call an MCP garden to handle the proper management of those sources as well. The economics are the other thing. So it's a little bit tough to discuss this in the sense that you don't always want it to be the cheapest solution that you want, but you don't want to waste money either. So when you buy a SaaS service, you usually end up paying some kind of a subscription fee and possible overages on that. And these numbers are usually quite heavily balanced in the favor of the platform provider. It just wouldn't be good business otherwise. But with Function AI, basically, when you host the service yourself, you can then pick and choose what models you want to use, in which cases to run which ones, who operates them, where they are operated, and you can even leverage your own model inference services. So this way, you basically have full control of the cost, both upwards and downwards. So you can use the smallest possible models where you want, but then you can choose to use the most capable models where they're needed.
And I think, by the way, just as a side note, you've mentioned concepts like MCP servers and agentic. I believe we might be doing a session on that in November for a deep dive, so stay tuned for that in case you are not familiar with what MCPs are about. But yeah, so now you described sort of the principles behind the scene. What about the development principles in general? I mean, as I mentioned in the intro, we built this for ourselves. So what were the principles in sort of managing the whole product?
Yeah, yeah. So the first one, we are building for Solitans by Solitans. And this is something that carries a lot of meaning for us. We eat our own soup. We firmly believe that in order to create a good service product concept, you have to use it yourself daily. And it's the only way to really know what works and what doesn't. And this is also something that we do for ourselves. So we use it, we want to learn, and we also want to have our finger on what's happening in the AI space. The other is open-hood architecture. So we are a professional services company, so we need to understand how these things work. And so we've created a system where we can understand what approaches, what patterns work with which LLMs. And we've made it possible for the user then to define both what's called a system prompt. We'll get back to that in the deep dive as well. And then the context that's given to the models when requesting the answers. This means that we can both test the model fit and the solution pattern fit for our customers. The next one is rapid onboarding for developers. It's really not valuable in any way to have a solution that's heavily siloed or exclusively available just to select number of developers or require very specific knowledge. So we've done this in such a way that we've leveraged common open source frameworks, and we've tried to keep it in a very good manner in such a way that all of these validated solutions prevent us from trying to reinvent many wheels. That's what we're trying to avoid. So it's super simple, basically, to get started developing your own workflows in FunctionAI, as those tools and frameworks are usually very familiar to developers. Minimum friction startup is what we call the starting point. So in order to get started with an AI project, oftentimes there's been a long lead time. So there's been like weeks before we get to any kind of value. So we're trying to bootstrap ahead of that. So you take FunctionAI as a solution, put that into the environment, and you're immediately one step ahead of basically the start.
And this is what I've seen in the last few months as well. I've been really impressed because, as you mentioned, the whole concept of plugins and getting quickly on board with developing those, that's what makes this unique. It is what provides the functional support. And I've also seen how developers can quickly get on board, and it's really impressive. And that's sort of one of my highlights of having this platform in place. I have to ask you, from a personal point of view, what was the moment when you realized that we actually have something unique and something that we should share with the world?
I'd say maybe we had a project very early on in the development cycle when most of the tooling that we had was still document management. Our sales team had a case where they had, I think it was something along 70 plus PDFs, more than 1,000 pages all in all. And they had a very short time to answer those questions on that particular request. So we fed those documents in, had all the preparation done, and they were able then to search all of those documents for those answers to references to the answers to the questions that they needed to answer, and in a verifiable way. And they said that this was, later on when they had used it, they said that it was definitely a game changer on being able to answer those queries.
Yeah, that is impressive. And so we've, as a summary, we've talked about sort of what's behind the scenes of Solita FunctionAI. Why did we develop it ourselves? We've also talked about some of the architecture and engineering principles behind it. But the really important part of this is, we built this for ourselves because we needed something that works in our environment, something that is safe, something that is secure and scalable too. And then the modularity came in as like something we just simply must have. And as we then started building it, we realized, hey, this might work with our customers and other organizations too. Hence, we're now introducing Solita FunctionAI as being available for broader deployments. And yeah, we're at a point where we believe our customers probably want to join in on the journey as well.
Yeah. So if a safe LLM platform sounds like something relevant, maybe to complement or even replace a third-party SaaS platform, there's now an option.
Exactly. So to sum up, safety and it is something that is secure, it is scalable, and it is modular, and it is an LLM platform that currently for us it works on our terms, which means it can work on your terms as well. So let's wrap up. If you want to know more about Solita FunctionAI, speak with your account manager or project person from Solita or whomever else you know who is friendly at Solita. All of us are friendly. But speak with anyone you know or visit our website at solita.fi/functionai. I'm sure there'll be information about Function AI in the follow-up materials from this summit too. But thank you, John, for joining us in the studio. And that's it for us for Solita Function AI. Thank you.
Thank you.